Good morning and welcome to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. Jamie Foxx returns to the spotlight. He made a speech about his illness, what nearly took his life. And we'll be talking about that this morning. And an Alabama, the cop was suspended after laughing and using a stun gun on a handcuffed black man. If you've seen the video of this, is only going to make you sick. Florida has banned books, banned the teaching of Black history, and banned just about anything to do with Black culture. But now,
in the state.
lawmakers there want to pass a bill that would outlaw reparation payments in any form. And speaking of banned books, we're going to have that story as a bunch of lawmakers on Capitol Hill gathered yesterday, pushing legislation to stop this book banning everywhere. And how much more evidence do we need, do people need to see that America's lawmakers are just wasting your time and what a Trump second term would look like? How much more evidence do we need? And Vice President Kamala Harris has broken the record for most Senate tiebreakers. Also this morning, TJ Holmes and Amy Robach, we all know their story, right? But check out, we're going to tell you what each of those ex-spouses are doing these days. We're going to talk about all that with Austin Cooper this morning. Good morning, Austin, wherever you might be.
Good
Where is he?
morning. Good morning. I am home in Oxon Hill, Maryland. How are you, brother? Good to see you.
Yes, you are, with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. above your head.
Absolutely.
Wait, but you know what? Before we get into stuff, I saw two things yesterday, or actually it wasn't yesterday. See, time just goes like that. It was like early this morning. So Donald Trump was doing a town hall with Sean Hannity and Fox News, and Hannity asked him, would he be a dictator? And he said, he says only on day one he would be a dictator.
I mean, can you imagine, any American saying that, much less any former occupant of the White House, much less any potential future occupant of the White House saying that. And there will be, unless we get out and vote, there will be no repercussions for this kind of talk. He lied as he always does. He not only is going to be a dictator on that first day, he's going to be a dictator for however many days, 4 years, a little over 1,000 days. I mean, he is telling us the obvious.
Yes. And okay, so let me ask you this question, Austin. Is there a Democrat other than Biden? There's going to be a reason. You're going to hear the reason why I'm asking you this question. Other than Biden, that can beat Donald Trump?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so you
No,
sound like
no, not that I am. I mean, I think I'd like to say, I want to say that Vice President Harris, but Democrat, for a whole host of reasons, are not going to unite behind her to be to be the nominee. She should be the next likely choice. And a little less than a year out from the election, President Biden, for whatever reason, decides he's not going to run, then we don't have the time to coalesce and to decide on another candidate.
well, let me ask you this way then. Before the president announced his reelection campaign, before he decided, say, let's take it back at least a year or even further. Could they have mounted a candidate, the Democrats, that would beat Donald Trump? You could foresee beating Donald Trump?
I think again, the choice, the choice should be the
Mhm.
vice president. And if
Can
we
win
press
if given enough
exactly, yeah,
runway.
yeah, if given enough runway, and if people, women and all of the interest groups within the Democratic Party were to unite behind her and keep our what was the movie that came out years ago, Juan Williams, eyes on the prize. The prize is keeping American democracy. The
Mhm.
prize is keeping Donald Trump out of the White House. The prize is keeping anyone out of the White House who even jokes about being a dictator for day one, day two, day three, or for any
Oh, he wasn't
day
joking.
in the presidency.
Yeah. Well, I asked that question, and Power 96 says Gavin Newsom is the only person he can think of. But I asked that question because, in addition to Trump's town hall last night, where he made the comments about being a dictator, uh, last night, President Biden made some interesting comments. He said, when asked about this, he said that he may not have decided to run if Trump decided he wasn't running. He said he believes he's the only person who can beat Donald Trump, and that is why he's running for reelection. Now, is that sufficient? Is that a sufficient reason for him to run? Is that something that even if it's if it's a sufficient reason, is that something that the party wants to hear right now?
I don't think so. I think the president would have been better suited, and the Democratic Party would have been better ready for battle if President Biden had responded, "I'm running again for reelection to not only keep Donald Trump out of the White House, but to continue job creation and expanding health care for
Mhm.
bringing down pharmacy costs." And naming some of the success stories.
Yeah, yeah. I
I thought he
I
could have
heard that
handled that question. I thought respectfully the president could have handled that question
differently.
better, differently.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
better, differently. And he later said again, is he stand if Trump were to drop out, would he stay in the race? And he said at this point, he says, yeah, most likely he would stay in the race at this point because he says it's too late. He believes it's too late for someone else to mount a campaign. But just thought those were very interesting comments coming from the president
Hmm.
yesterday,
Hmm.
even
Hmm.
as Donald Trump was doubling down with Sean Hannity on the fact that he intends to be a dictator. So
Hmm.
it was
Hmm.
very interesting night in politics that could have possibly. And the Fox thing, by the way, was taped. So and Biden's comments, so all that could have flown under the radar easily. But when you see stuff like that, they say see something, say something.
Hmm. Well, I saw the clip at about 2 o'clock this morning. I couldn't
Hmm.
believe it was up reading, and I said, "Wow, he really said this." I mean, how much more?
do, do
We're all
you
beyond
you're
shock. We're all
surprised?
beyond surprise. And I know we're going to talk about the speaker and
Oh
the
gosh,
hold, but
yeah.
the old Republican Party, you know, uh, um, what was it, Minority Leader Michael
Hmm.
out of Illinois, years ago. They would never have stood for this kind of nonsense political talk by certainly the likely or any one of the political nominees for the Republican nomination.
Yeah. And by the way, Austin, before we move on, I gotta say, you were in Miami. We missed you last Saturday night at the big shindig, the awards Saturday night, and part of your first of all, Denise, of course, got an award, but part
Absolutely.
of your White House
Congrats,
team.
Denise. Yep.
Um,
Erica. Yep.
the only thing that would have made that night even more um, a thing where I could have thrown it in your face if who would have shown up to
And
support Erica, but
moving on.
well, let's do
I
that.
knew
Let's
I knew
move.
you were gonna go this there. Like, oh boy, here we go. Here we go.
I'm just saying. I'm like, where's Austin? We got a whole crew there. Even Will Ford was there. We had a whole crew there. Like,
Yeah.
where's
I
Austin?
have to watch the program. You know who I'm a big fan of and would love to have met is Kirsten Walker. I've always been
Oh,
a
yeah,
fan
yeah.
of
Well,
hers, and
you didn't meet her in any of your trips to the White House?
I've never been there.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I remember her last day. I was there actually for that last briefing she attended, and Karine Jean-Pierre mentioned and gave her led a round of applause for her, and we was able to congratulate her
No,
on
no,
this
no.
thing. Yeah, so that was it was fantastic. Good
No,
for her.
I'm a big fan of Meet the Press, so
Hmm.
I'm very pleased to see her carry on in the footsteps of those who came before her, including the late great Tim Russert.
Tim Russert. Yeah, yeah. Tim. Well, in an emotional comeback, Oscar-winning actor Jamie Foxx took center stage at the Critics' Choice Association celebration of cinema and television, marking his first major Hollywood appearance since a medical emergency in April left him battling for his life. He made a surprise entrance at the event to honor Black, Latino, and AAPI achievements in the industry. He and he was very funny, of course, but he was also very poignant. He talked about he just didn't know if he was going to live or die. And we remember Austin, the all the controversy about his privacy and how his family.
Thank you so much.
And I think we got some audio.
I want to thank everybody. I've been through something. I've been through some things. You know, it's crazy. I couldn't do that 6 months ago. I couldn't actually walk to.
Wow.
And I'm not a clone. I'm not a clone. I know a lot of people were saying I was cloned out there. Boy, y'all ain't shit.
But he talked about when he was transferred to a rehab in Chicago, and how protective his family was of this. Nobody really knew, and of course, all the speculation ran amok on him. And he said the one thing that he learned, he said he said I kept hearing over and over again, Lord Jesus, help. Lord Jesus, thank the Lord Jesus is what he said. He said he was in a car, and he said he was in a car, Austin, and somebody pulled up to him and said, Lord Jesus. And then he said when he was going into the here he goes. There's some more of that.
You know what's interesting? First of all, I want to say to my black folks, man, thank you so much for holding me down all the time. It means a lot because I always say, like, to black folks, it's harder to impress black folks. It is because black people. Every time you get an award, it's always somebody out there saying, "Man, my cousin do the same thing." I'm like, hold on, man, that ain't do the same shit. Ray, man, my cousin did Ray Nard, man. So it feels good to be
But
here.
nonetheless, and the volume we know the volume is kind of low there, but he says he recalled undergoing physical therapy, going to rehab in Chicago after being released from the hospital. And then he says his family, of course, went to great lengths to protect his identity. So he came up to the when they brought him into the rehab, he was wearing a face mask. He just didn't want anyone to recognize him. And he says no one knew where I was. No one knew what was going on. But the woman at the counter there, at the desk there at the rehab center, made him take the mask off. He said the black lady that was checking me in at one point, she said, "Well, baby, I'm gonna have to see your face if I'm going to sign you in here. I run a tight ship, and I'm gonna have to see your face." And so he says, I took the mask down, and she saw me. She said, "Lord have mercy, Jesus." he said He said she told him, "I've been praying for you." And he said, "Wow." And that indicated that once I did get out of all of this, I was gonna be all right.
Absolutely. What a happy ending to what was clearly, and still don't know all of the detail, but was clearly a life threatening illness that he had. I was one of those who, I got to admit, I'm a big fan of Jamie Foxx. Was one of those was praying for a
Mhm,
complete and full recovery. So to see him back on stage with the humor and the quips, and to be walking on his own is just, there is indeed a God, and He does
mhm,
answer our prayers, and He certainly answered Jamie's prayer. But I was also, one who at times was annoyed with all of the secrecy. Just release a
mhm.
statement and let his fans know, that he had a heart attack or he suffered a stroke or whatever it
Right.
was. But celebrities are entitled to privacy.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, I and everybody else had to have to respect how they so choose to handle these types of personal crises and challenges.
You do have to respect it, but the problem I had with that when it was going on, it was that all of the information was coming from either his daughter or people in the industry that build themselves may have been close to him. It
Hmm.
wasn't This was one of those times where it wasn't the media. It wasn't
Hmm.
mainstream, certainly wasn't us. Um, but this was something you guys put out. My contention was that they put out the fact that he was there in the first place, that he had got they didn't have to do that,
Hmm. True.
right? They
True.
they
True.
had a closed set where this happened, and they could have kept it that way. They could have kept it under wraps. Um, so I think that they made some missteps there in their attempts to try and protect him. I think they made it a little worse because they were the ones who riled up the the interest, and you're going to be interested. And you pretty much you said you were curious, and you're going to be interested as a media member when there's
Hmm.
an Oscar winner
Yep. Yep. Yep.
that might be dying.
Hmm. Hmm.
And Jamie just confirmed that that's exactly what was going on.
And
He was dying.
yeah, and not to be critical again, I'm happy to see the brother clearly on the mend. I would encourage him to, take it easy, don't rush back. Give yourself time to do a complete recovery. It hasn't uh, been quite a year yet, but I'm hoping that. So this was a Black and Latino award ceremony or something, from
Mhm,
what I could tell. But I'm hoping that, and we've talked about this before with Black politicians and Black celebrities, that when he does his first interview with a media outlet, I hope that it's not NBC or MSNBC or CBS, but it's one of our outlets. Let it be known, or Win TV.
it'll be
Come
Gayle King.
exactly, yeah. You
And
say what?
it'll be Gayle King.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then and in and of itself, nothing wrong with Gayle King, but your point is that is not Black owned.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
again, we've had to bring that distinction up again, thanks to
Mm-hmm.
Austin Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Black owned, and CBS is not even Black targeted, so I
Nope.
can't even say Black
Mm-hmm.
targeted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and Quinn, that it would be Quinn wants to be Mr. Durrett over there wants to be a reporter. He goes, "I'm interested in how a near-death experience changes him."
Absolutely.
That would be a question that I would ask. I'm sure Austin would ask him.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna
Absolutely.
have to give Quinn a Black Press badge and let him go do the interview.
Go Quest.
By the way, Power 96 says, Austin, happy belated Founders Day. Oh six to the good bruh.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And '06. Thank you.
There it is. There it is.
And so December 4th was the 117th anniversary of the founding of AFI on the campus of Cornell. But yesterday made 43 years since my dad pinned me on a college campus to be frat. So
I'm
Thank you.
laughing because he's trying to get me riled up here this morning on a Wednesday.
What's he saying?
He said, and he's reminding me that Taylor Swift is Time Magazine's Person of the Year. And what did she do again?
Oh, you done it now. The show is going to the
No,
show. Greer,
I
Greer. The rest of the show is over.
no, I will respectfully decline to go too deep into that, other than to say what I've always been saying. I don't get the attraction to Taylor Swift, her music, her, or anything about her. I don't get it.
Me neither.
I can drive into central Pennsylvania and see 1,000 Taylor Swifts.
Me
I
neither.
just
Me neither.
don't get it.
Yeah,
And I don't. Where's her music so groundbreaking? I don't hear Michael Jackson and Taylor Swift. I don't hear Beyonce and the creativity of a Beyonce and Taylor Swift. I just don't get it.
And all of the media interest in when she kisses that football player at the game, or after the game, or before the game. I mean,
it should be the reverse. That frog and princess thing. It's like, oh my God, yeah. Some frog needs to kiss that princess, or she's the frog, and a prince needs to. See, this is the thing. Why y'all gonna get me started on Taylor Swift? And he goes, she dances like a wet chicken. Wait a minute, time out.
And he's encouraging you. Oh boy, oh boy.
Unbelievable. There's a cause and effect for most, if not everything, right? And I just think that, and here's somebody who's not a Beyonce fan. Yeah, I get Beyonce though, but the reason you have Taylor Swift is because you got Beyonce. The reason you had Donald Trump is because you had Barack Obama. There's a cause and effect. You see where I'm going with this, Austin Cooper?
Absolutely, absolutely. But
they gotta push somebody up there. This overly talented Black woman, Beyonce, amazingly talented, is the queen of them all. When it comes to that stuff. But no, we can't let them have that. Now I'm starting to feel like go back to my Muhammad Ali roots. Oh gosh, why you get me started, Austin?
I didn't do it.
Taylor Swift. There are not too many other words in the dictionary that gets me going as much as Taylor Swift.
What are some of the others, Stacey?
And Flavor Flav loves some Taylor Swift. I like my boy Flav, but good Lord. He's a Taylor Swift to the bone.
And honestly, I don't get the appeal of Taylor Swift, and I don't really get the appeal of Beyonce either. So I just assume it's generational. I like Beyonce, attractive lady. I think that Taylor Swift, is attractive, but I don't. I listen to Beyonce's music, and extremely talented. I get all of that, but the superstar status that she holds, I don't get it. but power to the both of them.
See, now I know I'm right, because my wife says they needed a white person. A white version of Beyonce
to bring her down.
Beyonce.
To bring her down. To bring her down.
See, we on the same. Isn't marriage a wonderful thing? And look, big sister chime in and she says, "Thank you, Austin. Neither do I."
Thank you, my little sister.
Oh gosh. This is wow. He said, I found one of her songs. Shake It Off is the name. The wet dancing chicken routine is funny. Oh, she did that song, Shake It Off. See, all that thing is like a little fun little thing, right? There's nothing creative about that. It's like, what's her name? Will Smith's daughter. I whip my hair back and forth. That's just like a little, that's what that reminds me of.
But who was it? She was accepting an award, and what idiot was that? who ran up on stage and took the mic?
Oh, Kanye.
Yeah, Kanye. I mean, that idiot is largely responsible for her notoriety
Well,
as well.
yeah. Well, he pulled that stunt, and huh. Right. When you do stuff like that, you do bring more attention
Exactly.
to the individual. But still, I mean, I think we already summed it up. I think Shanae summed it up. The Beyonce is the reason why they go crazy over Taylor Swift. It's the bottom line.
But
It's the
what would
bottom line.
really bother me, and I'm a big fan of President Obama, but it would bother me if I knew, if I could hear on tape him calling me a jackass. That would just mess with me. Which is, remember what
Really?
you remember, he did that with Kanye.
Kanye,
The
yeah.
next morning he was being mic'd up and didn't realize the mic was hot, and they asked him, and he said, "What a."
Well, here's the thing with that. I do it as a badge of honor.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I would have some comebacks for old Barack. Me and Barack would have some words.
Yep.
Because I can think of a few things to call him.
Exactly.
But I'm not Kanye. And nor do I ever aspire to be a Kanye. Kanye is.
I don't think Kanye ever responded, did he?
No, I don't think he did either.
Yeah.
He I don't listen to Kanye's music. It could have
Me
been
neither.
somewhere in his music.
I mean, his music. His music, I get. His music is really, really, good. I mean, I enjoy listening to
Just
Kanye.
listen
I'm
to his
not.
music.
Sometimes I listen to his music. I think he's extremely talented. I think he's nuts, but I think he's extremely talented as a songwriter, as a producer. But I think that definitely, those marbles in the brain that are not focused on music are just running amok.
It's like Power 96 would say he's 5 cans short of a 6-pack. That's what Power 96, that's his word about folks. And I'm sure it applies to Kanye. Unbelievable. Okay, so we are going to talk about the book ban right now. So yesterday, our intrepid producer, manager, boss made her way to Capitol Hill. These state laws that have forced school districts to pull thousands of important books from classrooms and libraries, whether districts want to or not, and without regard for the wishes of most parents. The problem is school districts cannot fight book bans because the costs incurred are beyond their budgets. And this is what these politicians were saying. Let's go to Capitol Hill.
In the state of Georgia on banning of books. I was wondering if that has happened in Florida, Utah, Texas, and other places, and if not, why you say it hasn't.
Yeah. So I had a great conversation with Gwen Graham from the Department of Education and the new book ban czar coordinator to help end book bans. We spoke a lot about this. They have investigations open across the entire country, which is good. The thing we have to know, though, is through the Civil Rights Office, these investigations will lead to a solution that has to do with that specific problem and doesn't set a standard that impacts the entire country. It's part of the constraints that the Department of Education has in handling these book bans. So it's a very important tool that they're using to its disposal. We'll see what's going on in Georgia and across the entire country. But we need to be able, Congress needs to give DOE boards, school districts, and our classrooms and students now on the front lines of the culture wars to erase communities of color and silence voices of minorities. PEN America, which I'm very thankful is here today, has found that 41% of book bans address LGBTQ plus themes, 40% of book bans contain characters of color, 21% of book bans 21% of banned books are on issues of race and racism, and 10% of book bans have themes of activism and fight for rights.
So first and foremost, just so folks don't get confused, Greer was behind the camera. That was Ashley Fields from the Afro's assistant editor, who asked that first question of Maxwell Frost there. Timothy Williams says she likes Maxwell Frost,
More tools
young
to their disposal.
representative out of Florida. But Austin, the federal government, this is what to sum up Representative Frost's position here. The federal government must, he says, stop censorship before it continues to spread. Kids deserve to feel safe and welcome at school while receiving a high quality education. And removing these books, these book bans and things like that take away from the kids getting a high quality education.
This is yet another example of the dumbing down of America. When we were, growing up, no matter where we lived, um, you, me, Greer, everybody, listening, others, this was just, unheard of. Banning books. I know, I would, and as you all know, I'm from Miami, and my parents, grew up in Miami, and there was book banning. It was called segregation. It was called, not getting current books or books at all. So in 2023, for there to have to be this type of, legislation, this type of protest, it's just unheard of. American history, global history is about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, learning is about each of us forming our own respective opinions and moving forward. I would not be in favor if I were alive 100 years from now, on Let It Be Known. I would not be in favor of banning books on the Trump presidency. That's a part of history. That is a part of history that should be told for generations to come. It's a bad part of American and global history, but it is nonetheless a part of history.
Yeah. Well, David Youngblood says parents of Black children should flood those school board meetings and refuse to allow their children to attend those schools if they don't reinstate those books. He says, tell those white women they will not dictate what Black kids read. And by the way, David says he's in your hometown, Austin.
Okay, cool. Enjoy, brother.
Well, this book ban, it's awful.
I mean, book ban, burning of books. I mean, and it is very, as we all know, very targeted and meant to erase Black history, meant to erase African history and civilization, and the untold stories that need to be told to Blacks, whites, Hispanic, everyone, because it is a part of history and her story.
There you go. And Black history is American history. A white female Alabama cop has been placed on leave for laughing while using a stun gun, laughing and doing other stuff while using a stun gun on a crying and handcuffed Black man. It's distressing. The video, it's circulated online in the clip. They still haven't identified or named the officer. I mean, she's clear in the clip, so just put her name to it. What's the problem? And she was a part. Here's the thing, Austin. She was a part of this reform police department in Pickens County, right? And yet she does this. The district attorney Andy Hamlin said that the suspect was arrested on trafficking fentanyl. But again, regardless of why he may have been arrested, you're not the judge or the jury or the executioner, right? And she had a lot of fun with this, a whole lot of fun. His girlfriend was there watching. And she referred to him as she's laughing, and she says, she's telling him to shut up.
Oh my fault. Oh my God.
Yeah. And she calls him the names, and you know, this guy's handcuffed. She's shouting at him. She's laughing at him. She's calling him names. Um,
Not
and he's,
resisting arrest, not
yeah,
being,
not
not,
anything.
just obeying, doing exactly what she told him to do, not trying to run away, because if you're handcuffed, you can still run. I don't know how you would get the cuffs off, but you can certainly run. Just another example of inhumane treatment of
Dana Elmore is Timothy Williams and Power 96 both have her name now. It's
good,
Dana
good.
Elmore, they say.
Yeah,
But yeah, she's, do you want it again? Shut your bleep bleep up, you know, and she, you know, the police chief again, this is supposed to be a reform.
yeah. So if this is reform, what was it like a year ago? What was she doing a year ago? And again, I always say, these officers had the body camera. I don't know what was his girlfriend filming this, but most police officers have body cam, and we see how they react, how they act when they are being filmed,
Yeah.
and that still does not cause them to pause and to correct their abhorrent behavior.
Yeah, the social media comments on this were, you know, a lot of times we see social media comments and people go off the rails, but they were spot on. There were folks saying, yeah, she's done this before. She's
Absolutely,
enjoying it
absolutely,
too much and things like that. It was just, it really is a shame that this stuff continues to happen. And there's nothing comprehensive at all being done. And this, so my little sister says, Dr. Nicole, she should not be suspended or fired. She should be arrested. Stop
absolutely,
letting these criminals hide behind badges.
absolutely. Agreed,
And Power
agreed,
96 says
agreed.
she's on paid vacation for committing police brutality.
Hmm, hmm.
And
And
that's
what?
another way of looking at it, right? Because
Yeah,
maybe the officer, maybe she decided she needed a vacation. You know, this is what they, uh, uh,
I guess Alabama. Okay. I guess we can be not guess. We can be thankful that she didn't shoot him. We can be thankful that she didn't kill him. I mean, as relaxed as she is doing this, someone said, or maybe it was you, Stacy, she has done this on numerous occasions before. How do you? I mean, how could she explain or justify this? This is being witnessed by, I think you said earlier, his girlfriend.
her justification is that this guy is an alleged drug trafficker. So,
So,
and
so,
of course, as Power 96 would say, he does not have the complexion for the protection.
mm-hmm,
And that's the justification.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So look, it's just as simple as that. And yes, I agree. This is not a suspension thing. This is not a termination thing. This is jail
Byron Jailer, Jailer.
and the rest. Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
She's it's the only way you put a dent in this. But even with that, I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it
We'll
far too often.
continue.
So unless there's something comprehensive,
Yep. And she would not have done this to a white drug dealer.
no. And again, we have to say alleged. This guy
Okay.
was she stopped him. She arrested him. Doesn't mean he's guilty, right? That's the other thing people have to understand. There is this due process that we keep losing more and more every single day, whether it's a case like this, whether it's we talked about sexual assault and things like that. We due process is becoming foreign, especially when you're wearing a badge. They are
Well,
carrying out these executions that, and we talked about Trump, right? He said, what did he say, Austin? If they're robbing, if they're looting stores, shoot them
shoot
in
them,
the street.
shoot them in the streets. Hmm,
That's going to be his presidency, he said,
hmm.
right? Shoot. So okay. If you are one of those extreme types that says somebody robs a store should be shot, you know, if you want, what if, and there's always this part, you start shooting at the so-called perpetrators, but amongst those perpetrators are people who's just simply trying to get out of the way.
Yep. 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 And with him, we rightfully have to say, alleged. He's an alleged, trafficking drugs or whatever
Mhm.
he was pulled over for. Her behavior is not alleged.
Thank
Her
you.
behavior is
Exactly.
very clear for any and all to see.
Yep.
And hence your sister's reaction, fire and put her in jail
There you
immediately
go.
and throw away the key.
Yeah, this is something that continues to happen, and it continues to happen with cameras rolling, their own
They
cameras
don't care. They
rolling.
don't care.
Um, but it also tells you that uh, before cell phone cameras, before all these cameras been placed all over, neighborhoods and businesses, that wasn't too long ago, right? Imagine what we missed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because Rodney King's
I was just
beating
about
was
to
was
say,
caught on video.
remember how
And it was a
shocking
very
it
rare
was?
thing.
Remember how shocking that was?
Shocking.
I mean, it was gut wrenching, with heart wrenching. It was just absolutely shocking. And what was even more shocking was when those officers were found
Not
not
guilty.
guilty.
Yeah. Because because what you see, your eyes were deceiving you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Gosh. But it just tells us that how prevalent this really is when it continues to happen on this scale, right? Um, despite cameras,
Hmm. Hmm.
despite cameras, and like I said, even their own cameras, many of them record themselves committing crimes
Hmm. Hmm.
on their own camera, and it hasn't stopped them. So, well, Austin, to go along with today's theme, dozens of cities across the country in the state of California are now working to provide reparations to their Black residents. Senator uh, Blase, and he's got the perfect first name, right? Angolia, though, wants to end the debate in Florida over whether reparations should be paid to descendants of slaves. He wants to ban it.
Reparations aren't the answer. It's investing in Black and brown communities on things like education and infrastructure and opportunities. And that's what I think we should be talking about.
Jacksonville State Representative Angie, no serious efforts or even any bills filed seeking to implement slavery reparations in Florida.
It's simply a bill.
Yeah, he filed resolution SJR 582 that would place a question on the ballot next year, asking voters to approve a constitutional amendment prohibiting any government in Florida from paying reparations to certain individuals. And we know who those certain individuals
Yep.
are.
And and the answer is reparation should not be the only answer. It should be part of a host of answers to address past discrimination, etc. So, I mean, I do agree with him that I disagree with him that reparations should not be a part. And look at him with with Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, what more needs to be said of where
Well, his measure,
going?
Austin, the measure that he's trying to push has this wording about the individuals. When he says certain individuals, well, then he makes it very clear. Those individuals, the measure says, includes anyone with an ancestor who was an enslaved individual who lived in the United States before December 6, 1865.
So who else was he targeting? But Black.
It's like say I'm racist without saying I'm racist.
And and if this is his mindset, then it's very clear that the other part of his sentence with the clip that Gris showed, he's not he's being disingenuous. Talking about investing in
Right.
Black communities
Right.
and
Well, that's
businesses. I mean, they all go hand in hand.
yeah.
You
And
give
that's
people
just
reparations, then they can take those monies and invest in Black businesses and build, purchase homes and, build generational wealth and all of that.
well here. So that's just talk. This idea of get school. Think about where it's coming from. Florida. We just talked about they banned these books. They've done this. They've done. It's you live in Florida. It's woo.
I was
It's akin to Mississippi now.
exactly. I was left I stayed with my aunt in Coconut Grove in the house where my parents on the plot where where my dad, his family grew up, and walked about a mile up to a old Bahamian cemetery, which is like a family reunion whenever I go. But here's the point I'm making. As I was in Miami over the past couple of days, and having conch fritters, right off of the water with some cousins, I was saying this is a different life. It's 7 o'clock at night. It's 80, degrees here. Beautiful view. Wasn't too hot while I was there, and I was saying I could really, as I get older, think about returning here. And I said not, because of the craziness. Because of the so I would just every
Not.
couple of months get on a plane and go and visit and enjoy for a few days. But to be there full time in this environment, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's just it's wow. It's like volunteering to live in Jim Crow era. It's just, oh gosh.
I mean, there's nothing you could pay me, no amount you could pay me to live in Alabama
No.
or Mississippi.
No,
Like, no, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'll collect unemployment checks. No, I'm not. I can't. I can't go down there and take that.
Listen, I'll collect bottles and cans before I live in Mississippi and Alabama. And look, I know, again, I say this all the time. I know we got papers and people
Absolutely.
in Alabama and Mississippi. They do a tremendous job, and if they wasn't there, I would imagine things would be a lot
A
worse.
lot worse. And thank you for all they do. But for me,
Yes.
yeah. I'll try. I'll try to make a difference from where I am.
Thank
Continue
you
to try
very
to make a
much.
difference from where I am.
Tell me about it. And yeah. Speaker Mike Johnson said Tuesday that the House Republicans are blurring footage. This is amazing to me. Let me let Austin comment. Let me finish. He's blurring footage from the Capitol attack before releasing it publicly, because they don't want the rioters to be charged with crimes.
It goes from crazy to crazier to beyond crazy to craziest, on any given day. And
they can review the tapes themselves. We're going through a methodical process of releasing them as quickly as we can. As you know, we have to blur some of the faces of persons who participated in the events of that day, because we don't want them to be retaliated against and to be charged by the DOJ and to have other concerns and problems. So that's a slow
nonsense. Now think, had you and I and Greer and your wife and your sister and David ransacked the Capitol like that, would he have been concerned about blurring our images? Heck no.
Unreal. When you have not just a congressman, but the Speaker of the House.
Third in line to the presidency.
Third in line to the presidency.
He is saying out loud what Kevin McCarthy was afraid to say during his short tenure as Speaker.
Yeah. To have someone say that is just in his position is incredible. It's like, look, they committed these serious crimes, but we don't want you to know who they are because we don't want them prosecuted.
They need to be prosecuted. And he's doing everything he can each day to ensure that he remains as Speaker at least through the elections next year. Because if he doesn't fall in line, that Republican nut block in the House will not hesitate to toss him to the side as well. And we'll begin this process again right after the holidays. This could happen in February, March. I mean, his speakership is not guaranteed. You remember before, the good old days, which was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when you had a speaker, you may not agree with the speaker, but you would say, okay, I'm not a fan of Nancy Pelosi. I am, but I'm saying I'm not a fan of Nancy Pelosi, but she's going to be the speaker for the next 2 years. And on to the next topic.
And
There
as
was a
David
time with
Youngblood,
Speaker McCarthy
yeah,
where, we should have been able to say, and I don't agree with Speaker McCarthy at all. Okay, McCarthy's going to be the speaker for the next 2 years. Let's just try to make the most of this and regain control of the House. Now, no side, as long as there's a Republican speaker, has that comfort.
it would be like Vice President Kamala Harris saying, don't saying the same thing, blur their faces. We don't want them prosecuted. One of the missions was to kill the vice president, hang Mike Pence, right? One of the other missions, as David Youngblood brings out, and it's really, really telling, that a House Speaker, no matter who you are, would want to protect these guys when their mission was to kill the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. So there was 2 people on their hit list for death, on their death list. Everybody was on the hit list, but they were on the wanted for death, right?
Yep.
And they had brought nooses and everything else.
Well,
was Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence.
And it was horrible enough that, let's not forget who initially released these tapes. That was Kevin McCarthy releasing these tapes to Foxx and releasing these tapes to Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson. That's what it was, Tucker Carlson. And, this footage was never seen footage of the U.S. Capitol. There was a reason the January 6th committee did not release all of these tapes, and that was because that was to protect all of the members, Republicans and Democrats, showing hideaway offices in the Capitol that the public doesn't see. Now it's out in the public domain, and now you have the new speaker fighting to keep his seat, who wants to blur images of rioters. Had that been Black Lives Matter, nobody would have talked about blurring their images. In fact, they'd have done close-ups, zooming in to try to figure out who these people are and were.
Yeah, it's just unreal. Well, Vice President Kamala Harris made history yesterday. She surpassed the record for the most tie-breaking votes cast in the U.S. Senate, exceeding the previous mark set by John C. Calhoun in the 19th century, Austin. She now has cast 32 tie-breaking votes. And just to put it in perspective, this is, first of all, it's the first term of her administration, right? So she's done this in 3 years. Calhoun, who had 31, well, it took him two terms to amass that, which is still a high number. But when President Biden was Vice President Biden under Barack Obama in those 2 terms, you know how many times he cast a tie-breaking vote?
How many?
0.
Wow.
0.
I did not know that fact.
Yes. So Mike Pence under Trump cast 13 tie-breaking votes. But Biden, 0. So amazing. You talk about, and people say, well, what does the vice president do? Well, stuff like this actually keeps her from doing other stuff that she, I'm sure, wants to do. I mean, she's accomplished a lot, but this shows you how busy this vice president has been. And she's had to do this, by the way. She could be in California or even overseas, and on a moment's notice, when there's a tie in the Senate,
had to get back to Washington.
Hop on that flight and hightail it back to Washington. So,
well, kudos, kudos to the vice president. It's another reminder of just how important next November is for everybody getting out and voting and ensuring that if it's not 50-50, where she had to break be the tie-breaking vote, 49-50, whatever it is, that we maintain power, and that is going so that in the event that there are close votes like this, she can be there to make a difference. And that's what she's doing with these votes. It's making a difference for the American people, and it's going to be even harder because of Manchin. deciding that he's not going to, run for re-election, which significantly hurts our chances of maintaining our very slim majority in the Senate.
And Power 96, he be reading my notes because I was going to mention this, but I have to give him the credit. That tie-breaking vote, by the way, was for a lifetime judicial appointment.
Wow. Yep.
So there you have it. All right. So before we close today, we're gonna go into the realm in which we rarely go into, which is gossip. But the reason is because I just find there's something about this story that I find to be so it's yucky, it's odd, it's weird. But we know the story of Amy Robach and TJ Holmes and their situation and how they were booted off GMA because of their extramarital affairs with each other. And their relationship, they now they have a podcast together and they're talking about how much they love each other and how strong their relationship is. Well, apparently their respective exes whom they cheated on are now dating. Marilee Feebig is TJ Holmes' ex, and Andrew Shue, both were devastated. That's Amy's ex, were devastated. Now they have comforted each other to the point that they are now playing footsies. They said they bonded over their 2 divorces that they are now divorced from Amy and TJ. At least they did it the right way. But their relationship transcended. They said all of the messiness, and both have moved on from their broadcasting exes.
In the spirit of transparency, I know TJ. I've known him for about 12, 13 years. We have traveled to Africa at least twice with the Leon Sullivan Foundation and Ambassador Young. I met his former wife. I don't recall if she traveled with us, but I've texted TJ a few times, say, "Hey man, good luck. I hope you find peace and happiness." And this is a little, this is beyond happiness as well. What does someone say?
No, well, Power 96 says, as the young folks say, "Unc, you got all the tea." And but Joni King said, "It's just nasty." Joni King said, "It's just nasty." But you're talking about 2 devastated individuals, right?
Yeah.
Obviously devastated, blindsided by this nonsense. And it's just so odd seeing those pictures side by side like that. I can't get over her name, though. I tell you what.
What's her name?
I can't get over her name. TJ really went to a certain place to hook up with her in the first place. Marilee Feebag. I can't get over that name. I just can't. I'm not criticizing, or am I criticizing Austin? I'm not trying to criticize, but Marilee Feebag. How about that? TJ you knew he was on a mission when you knew what he was looking for.
Yeah. And
I know that's your boy and all, but come on, Austin.
But absolutely. But this is this the first time that this has happened? I don't recall this ever happening with with celebrities. You remember?
Do you know the 1972 New York Yankees had a major scandal where you had players swapping wives? They went on a trip and came back divorced and remarried.
I had forgotten about that.
Huge scandal there. Disgusting. And Johnny King said literally. Because Power 96 said them folks down with OPP. Yeah, exactly. I can see TJ. Yeah, you know me. and Amy, you know, I worked with Amy some years ago. I didn't know her that well. I worked with her at MSNBC just for a cup of coffee, 2.5 years. And I again, I didn't know anything about her personal life or anything like that. But so that is different from your you know, buddy TJ. You know TJ.
And
so.
exactly. And it's got to be child. I think both. I know TJ and his wife have at least one child, maybe two. I believe
It's just my
that.
imagination.
Yeah. So
once again.
So imagine the challenges for these children, adapting to our parents being being divorced and all that entails. And now on top of that, you have the challenge of, wait, what? Mom, you're with who? Uncle such and such? Jesus.
Well, hey, and so this is not throwing shade, but look, Jermaine Jackson not only took his brother Randy's wife, who they both have kids with her, lived in the same house.
Keep it in the family, I guess.
So look, and I tell you what, not that, and Greer says, now that's nasty, but I tell you what, and not giving Jermaine a pass on it, but Alejandra, me and my wife talk about all the time, absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Absolutely drop dead gorgeous. But that's still no reason for you to go from one brother to the next brother. Have children with both of them. Uncle Daddy.
It's like, you remember years ago when you would you would be dating someone and you all break up,
right?
And
some things were off limits.
Exactly. And one thing that was always off limits was any of your girlfriends. And now that's that rule has been tossed.
Oh gosh,
tossed aside.
Unbelievable. This is what happens. So the problem is with, and it really happens a lot in celebrity, in the world of celebrity. Well, weird things like that happens in the world of celebrity. It happens in everyday life too, but in the realm of celebrity, because they get into
the different mindset, a different world.
And
the rules of normalcy do not apply to them in their minds.
At least they don't think it does.
Yeah.
Goes against code. How about that, Joni King is saying what Greer is saying. Greer is saying no, there's no more codes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And David Youngblood is another one that says it's just nasty. She said, look, Austin, she says ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Yep.
Oh my God. But I'm with you on, whatever. Amy and TJ. True story.
True story. Yeah, my little sister Kim sent me that yesterday afternoon. I meant to send it to on our group thread. I'm like, wait, what? I thought I was misreading. I said, wait, what? How can this be? But okay.
Oh my gosh, it is. I don't know what she means. Michelle Madison just put 2 letters up. And I'm not totally sure why she's using those 2 letters.
And I think Greer is right. It happens all the time.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Like I said, I've seen it up close and personal with Jermaine and Randy and Alejandra. And then, like we talked about the Yankees back in 1972, that horrendous scandal. These guys decided, hey, let's trade wives. They trade baseball players. Now let's just trade wives. And they in the locker room. That's horrible. That says that you're spending too much time around your partner's wife. That's just that's
absolutely.
What it means.
Yep, absolutely.
It's just not right.
And yeah.
TJ Holmes, Mary Lee Feebag. Somebody tell me about that name, Mary Lee Feebag. She is saying, you know what? I'm living my life like it's golden.
Payback. That's what she's saying. Payback. That's
Yes.
what they're both saying. Payback.
Yep. Oh man, there are the two couples. Now, Austin, before we go, I have to ask you see those two couples? Which will last?
Interesting. I think that the spurned spouses will last.
If for no other reason, to get back at the exes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, folks, there you have it. The once in a blue moon gossip of Let It Be Known. Thanks for joining us, Austin. Thank you for dropping in this morning. We appreciate
Absolutely,
you
brother.
as always.
Always.
Everybody, enjoy your Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow.